And I think it's going to be a real jigsaw puzzle to do. And I have two scripts.
Right.
And one of them is very structured and a very strong script and kind of more what you'd expect. And the other is like an trip. And because you're going into other realms and stuff.
This project isn't just stirring curiosity. It's pressing against nearly 17 centuries of established Christian tradition. And there's a real chance it could collapse under scrutiny before it even fully emerges. That's not exaggeration. It's the underlying pressure surrounding it right now. A $100 million biblical epic rooted in texts that were deliberately excluded from the Western canon back in the 4th century, aiming for a 2027 release, yet already being quietly labeled as too extreme within industry circles, without a single trailer in sight. Pause on that for a second. Nothing has been shown publicly, and still, the atmosphere feels off.
How's your shoot going in Italy?
Great. I'm in pre-production and preparing well. And cameras will start rolling soon. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, there was so much excitement about the first movie. I think people are going to be very, very excited.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time coming, you know. Took me 8 years to write it with my brother and Randall. And
on one side, there's a promise of unveiling hidden truth. On the other, there's a sense that something is being carefully managed or even suppressed, and all of it is unfolding against a ticking clock. Let's be clear about what this film is stepping into, because downplaying it misses the point entirely. The Ethiopian Orthodox canon holds 81 books. Most Western Christians were raised with 66. That gap isn't minor, it's foundational. Within those additional texts sit writings like the Book of Enoch and the Ascension of Isaiah, documents that circulated widely enough in early Christianity that church authorities didn't ignore them, they confronted them. By the 4th century, councils such as Laodicea moved to formally exclude works like Enoch from accepted use. That decision wasn't incidental. It was intentional, structured, and enforced. So when a filmmaker decides to center a major studio production on those very writings, he isn't adjusting the margins of tradition. He's prying open something that was deliberately sealed shut. And this is where the tone shifts. The portrayal of Christ in these texts doesn't match the calm, familiar imagery repeated across Western art and teaching. In Enoch, the Son of Man is described in overwhelming terms. Hair like wool, a face radiant like the sun, eyes burning with fire. This isn't soft symbolism. It's apocalyptic, immense, almost uncontainable. Then you have the ascension of Isaiah, mapping out layered heavens, ranked angels, and movement through realms beyond the physical. It's expansive, otherworldly, less like a parable, more like a cosmic architecture. Based on early descriptions, the film leans directly into that space. Fallen angels, multiple dimensions, a Christ figure whose presence isn't comforting but overpowering. This is an imagery of stained glass windows or Sunday sermons. It operates in an entirely different register, which means this isn't just a creative variation. It's a shift.
There are big realms, spiritual realms. There's good, there's evil, and they are slugging it out for the souls of mankind. And my question is, why are we even important? Little old flawed humanity, why are we important in that process?
In theological atmosphere. Now look at how people are responding. Major denominations aren't rallying behind it, but they're not openly attacking it either. There's no unified endorsement, no loud backlash, just a noticeable quiet. At the same time, industry voices are framing it as too niche, difficult to sell, commercially risky. Pay attention to that framing. The resistance isn't being presented as theological disagreement. It's being packaged as a business concern. Neutral language, safe language. But when something that touches historically sensitive ground is met with silence from religious authorities and hesitation from studios, it starts to feel less like coincidence and more like positioning. Centuries ago, exclusion came with official decrees and formal authority. Today, it can look much subtler. Now here's the part that should really make people pay attention. At this stage, there's no confirmed major distributor publicly tied to the project. For a film carrying a $100 million price tag, that's not a minor detail, it's lifeblood. Without strong distribution backing, something this large is vulnerable. Financing can shift. Investors can pull back. Development can drift into that quiet, uncertain space where projects don't officially fail. They just stop existing. No public shutdown. No dramatic rejection. Just a gradual disappearance. Which means the arena has changed. This isn't about church councils anymore. It's about boardrooms, negotiations, and signatures on contracts. Now add another layer. The wave of misinformation already forming around it. Online narratives have tried to link the film to hidden financial powers and shadowy influences, suggesting secret motives behind its existence.
It's such a massive undertaking that you can't do it lightly and you can't do it quickly. You have to really consider what it is that you need to show in order to be poignant. It can't be linear. You have to have many things to juxtapose against one another, even from different time periods, in order to illustrate what something means in a more...
Claims haven't held up. Fact checkers have already stepped in to dismantle specific rumors, including false connections to unrelated families or backers. And that matters more than it seems. Because once a project attracts conspiracy attention, before a single frame is released, it changes how it's perceived. Even when the claims are proven wrong, the association lingers. It leaves a mark. And studios are highly sensitive to that kind of noise. They don't charge toward it, they slow down, which means speculation alone can shift the balance of power. Now consider the timeline. A 2027 release sounds distant, but the runway is shorter than it looks. Funding needs to hold steady. Production has to stay on track. Distribution deals must be secured. Marketing strategies have to align at scale. And every complication adds pressure. Every whisper about controversial theology. Every rumor that needs correcting. Every executive who decides the risk outweighs the reward. It all narrows a margin for success. A project like this doesn't survive by inching forward. It requires momentum. It either arrives with force or it fractures along the way. And when a high-budget religious epic fractures in public, the industry doesn't just move on, it remembers. And this is where history begins to echo in a way that almost feels staged. The Council of Laodicea didn't erase the Book of Enoch. It repositioned it. It drew a boundary and placed that text outside of it. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian church kept it alive, preserved it, passed it forward. That preservation isn't speculative. It's documented, established, part of a living tradition. So this expanded canon has never been lost. It was never hidden away in...
Yeah, there was a lot of opposition to it. And I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're going to get people going. Because...
Of course.
It's big subject matter, and it's like, And my contention is, when I was making it, it was like, you're making this film, and the idea was that we're all responsible for this, that his sacrifice was... for all mankind.
Darkness. It simply wasn't centered in the Western narrative, which means when this film brings into focus, it isn't uncovering something secret. It's redirecting attention to something that was intentionally set aside. And that shift introduces a quiet but weighty question. Why was it set aside in the first place? Institutions rarely welcome that kind of question. Even unspoken, it lingers. It sits beneath the surface. Now look closely at the response pattern. There's no sweeping theological pushback, no urgent clarifications from major religious authorities, just a strangely calm exterior. At the same time, behind the scenes, the language revolves around risk, audience reception, market limits. That contrast matters. If the material were insignificant, it would be ignored. If it were clearly incendiary, there would be visible backlash. But instead, what emerges is something in between. Silence from one side, caution from the other. That doesn't prove suppression, but it does signal pressure, and pressure shifts decisions. Investors become hesitant when no influential voice publicly supports a project. Uncertainty spreads faster in a vacuum. Then there's the audience dimension. The difference between 81 books and 66 isn't just a statistic. It's a visible fracture in what many assumed was fixed and settled. Put that contrast on a global screen, and it becomes more than storytelling. It challenges perception itself. Some viewers will be intrigued. Others may feel unsettled. Some could respond defensively. Religious audiences, in particular, have a history of mobilizing quickly when foundational beliefs feel stretched or reinterpreted. Past biblical films have sparked protests, organized campaigns, and intense media debates across major platforms. Studios remember those moments, and this is where the director's history starts to cast a long, quiet shadow. His earlier biblical films didn't pass unnoticed. They ignited backlash, stirred public debate, and triggered organized protests across multiple countries. That record isn't rumor. It's documented. So stepping even further into disputed theological ground with this new project doesn't happen in a vacuum. Studios have memory. Executives have seen how quickly religious controversy can escalate. So the hesitation here isn't just theological, it's strategic. It's about exposure. And in this industry, managing exposure often looks like slowing things down. Then there's the digital noise that refuses to stay contained. Online spaces are already filling with speculation, claims about hidden motives, talk of suppression, theories about unseen forces shaping the film's trajectory. There's no verified campaign to bury the project. That needs to stay clear. But speculation doesn't require proof to spread. It feeds on itself. And once that narrative takes hold, everything starts to shift. A delay isn't just a delay anymore. It becomes suspicious. A private meeting isn't routine. It becomes evidence. The environment turns volatile, where even normal production friction gets reinterpreted as something intentional. That doesn't simplify the situation. It complicates